Corridors Part 1, Pilot.
First Prelate Ewardian of the Onathins sovereignty wiped the sweat off of his stress glands as he turned to face the view screen. He was determined to present a calm, focused image to the Cretith Dominion representative, despite the state of the war. He tapped the console with his third digit on his left forelimb to begin the meeting.
1,000 victories to you, Raxin of the Cretith Dominion. How fares the battle at the Ranteller Star Cluster?
Prelate Ewardian vocalized into the translator.
1,000 victories to you, First Prelate Ewardian. But today, victory does not come easily.
Raxin gnashed his mandibles together in frustration.
The enemy has taken 6 out of the 18 systems in the Ranteller Star Cluster before we managed to halt their advance. We have taken heavy losses, but will recover. However, I fear that the loss of this star cluster is inevitable.
Prelate Ewardian smoothed the ruffled feathers of his crest in concern.
The Onathins sovereignty can send 200 ships to help retake those systems. The Ranteller cluster is home to a large portion of the Cretith Dominion shipyards. It is vital to hold the cluster if we have any chance of winning this war.
Raxin's mandibles and 3 antennae on his insectoid face waved in appreciation.
Your assistance is most appreciated, First Prelate. I will transmit the rendezvous coordinates immediately. May our forces emerge victorious over the Forsaken fleets.
Raxin gnashed his mandibles again.
Our listening posts have also recently detected small scout ships in the Winan system.
Prelate Ewardian narrowed his 4 eyes in shock.
But that's all the way in the heart of the Cretith Dominion.
Yes, there is concern that an attack could be imminent in the Cretith home cluster. We will continue to monitor the Winan system and report any activity directly to your war nexus. I must prepare for our counter-assault in the Ranteller Star Cluster. May your enemies fall before you, First Prelate.
May your enemies fall before you, War Ambassador Raxin.
Prelate Ewardian ended the call. This was disturbing news indeed. He activated a few more controls on the console and tapped into the war nexus to bring up a map of the Cretith Dominion. The Ranteller Star Cluster sprawled along the outer edge of the Cretith Dominion. It was the furthest from the galactic core, and closest to the edge of the galaxy. Prelate Ewardian remembered a time when this star cluster was a hive of bustling activity and trade between the Cretith Dominion and the Draconal Republic. He shook his feathers as Prelate Ewardian remembered the news reports of fleets of black, angular ships that suddenly fell upon the outer worlds of the Draconal Republic. Black ships that seemed to originate from the extragalactic void destroyed 11 colonies in 7 systems before the Republic could mount a response. After more than 20 journeys of struggle, the Draconal Republic was destroyed, and the Forsaken continued their invasion towards the center of the galaxy. The Cretith Dominion now stood as the final buffer between the Forsaken and Onathin sovereignty. Prelate Ewardian blinked his eyes and refocused them onto the war map. From the Ranteller Star Cluster, it is possible to travel to 3 other solar systems, Greeds, Prepoa, and Yverae. The Cretith home cluster is only accessible through the Greeds system. To think that the Forsaken have somehow bypassed the Greeds system to jump directly into the Winan system in the Cretith home cluster is unthinkable. How could their small scout ships hold so much fuel to jump such a long distance? He expanded the map of the local clusters, and noted with concern that if the Cretith home cluster were to fall, the Cretith Dominion would be fractured. From there, it is only a matter of time before the Dominion crumbles, and the Onathin sovereignty would be next. Prelate Ewardian sighed and dismissed the map. The dark view screen reflected back a tired Onathin face. 2 eyes sat above 2 more eyes, all drooping in angst and worry. A short, blunted beak hung slightly open in exhaustion, and Prelate Ewardian's downy blue feathers were matted back with sweat. He tried to fluff them up with his forelimbs, since Onathins find sweaty feathers distasteful. He was interrupted with a polite peck at his door. Prelate Ewardian turned around, fixed up a calm, determined persona, and answered the peck with a small, approving chirp. A smaller, green-feathered Onathin entered, spreading his forelimbs and displaying his vestigial wing plumage as a sign of respect. Prelate Ewardian returned the gesture.
Diplomat Pelin, it's been many rotations since we last communicated. How have the winds treated you?
First Prelate, the winds have treated me well. I have come with news regarding the new species that we've encountered on our colonization march towards the galactic core. The humans, as they call themselves.
Diplomat Pellin replied. Prelate Ewardian thought for a moment. He had ordered a fervent expansion of the Onathin sovereignty inwards towards the galactic core, and away from the warfront. The idea was to build as much infrastructure and collect as many resources as possible to fund the Credith Dominion in their fight against the Forsaken. One of the colonization teams had come across a new species upon entering a solar system orbiting a standard yellow star.
Ah, yes, the humans. Such a peculiar species. As I recall, they were quite excited to become acquaintances, yes?
Prelate Ewardian loved meeting new species, especially if they were reasonable people.
Yes. They were in the midst of expanding into their home system. A few asteroid mining platforms had been established, as well as a fledgling colony on the satellite of their homeworld. We had also detected faint traces of environmental manipulation on a neighboring Class C world.
Diplomat Pellin paused and smoothed some of his ruffled feathers on his face.
As you recall, you gifted them with an extremely archaic and outdated design of an interstellar engine at their insistence.
Prelate Ewardian thought back to those diplomatic exchanges. The humans desperately wanted to explore space, but the Onathin Parliament was worried about gifting such advanced technology to a species that they had only recently encountered. But there was something in the way the humans had expressed their desire for interstellar travel that swayed the prelate. First of all, they didn't outright request an interstellar drive, instead requesting assistance in the theoretical calculations and design of an interstellar engine. But what convinced Prelate Ewardian to give them what they wanted was the conviction and passion with which they spoke. Prelate Ewardian looked for hints of aggressive, expansionistic behaviors, but only found curiosity and fascination in the universe. Their hopes of meeting others in the galaxy mirrored a sense of galactic community that pre-spaceflight Onathin craved. Others in the Parliament were quick to point out evidence of nuclear irradiation on their homeworld, cautioning against gifting advanced technology to an apparently barbaric species. Eventually, Prelate Ewardian compromised by giving the humans an archaic, outdated design from the Onathin archives, one that wouldn't be efficient enough to travel very far for very long, and would be unable to allow the humans to travel into Onathin territory.
Yes, I remember the arguments around giving them interstellar technology. To placate the Parliament, we didn't provide any technical support to the humans. That was over a journey ago. What has transpired since?
Well,
Diplomat Pellin smoothed his crest again.
the human ambassador requests an audience with you.
Prelate Ewardian cocked his head in confusion.
We left them an interstellar communicator. I don't remember agreeing to that technology exchange.
No, you misunderstand. The ambassador is here, along with an entourage of other humans, to request an audience from you.
How is that possible? Their homeworld is 5 systems jump away. Are you sure we gave them the archaic design as planned?
Diplomat Pellin closed his 4 eyes in a sign of exasperation.
Yes, First Prelate. They've taken our old design and developed their own interstellar engine from that. Since a journey ago, they've improved on the range of their engine and managed to jump to Sakala. There, they refueled and jumped to Sichid, then to Palam, then to Redula, before jumping here to Onathi. They say the trek has taken them close to 1 of their months. They are here to meet you, First Prelate.
Prelate Ewardian narrowed his eyes in shock.
A peculiar species indeed, these humans.
He shook his feathers.
Very well, show them in.
Diplomat Pellin turned to head back out the door. The green bird penguin creature glided back to Ambassador Tyler Evans and his entourage. It raised a forelimb to a collar on his throat and pushed a button to activate the translator.
Thank you for waiting, Ambassador Evans. First Prelate Ewardian will see you now.
The bird thing looked at the rest of the humans.
I will show your entourage around the Onathi marketplace while your meeting takes place. No doubt they are curious about the many wonders the Onathin sovereignty has to offer.
Ambassador Evans smiled widely.
Thank you for your hospitality, Diplomat Pellin.
He turned back to face his entourage.
Remember that not only are you all brilliant scientists and engineers, but you are also representatives of humanity. So behave yourselves!
With that, Evans turned back towards Diplomat Pellin, adjusted his black suit and his tie, drew himself up to his full 6-foot height, and walked through the door. Diplomat Pellin gently closed the door behind him as Ambassador Evans strode into the throne room of First Prelate Ewardian. The first thing he noticed was the unusual desk that the blue bird perched behind. It looked like a giant gnarled branch, with a flat surface that seemed to have symbols and figures dancing about. A sort of tabletop computer, Evans theorized. He noticed that the throne room was semicircular, with transparent windows dominating most of the walls. Behind the branch desk and the blue bird, there was half a tree trunk rising out of the ground and reaching the ceiling. The tree trunk had been cut longitudinally, and the exposed flat surface sported a black view screen. The blue bird chirped.
Ambassador Tyler Evans, I hope the winds have treated you well. I must admit that I am quite surprised to see you here on Onathins. I had expected that interstellar engine to keep your species busy for at least 3 more journeys.
Prelate Ewardian extended his wings. Ambassador Evans extended his arms in response. He quickly went through the Onathins lexicon in his head, and remembered that a journey around the Onathins sun took roughly 18 months.
Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, First Prelate. I am honored to be in your presence, and on this great planet.
Evans extended his hand forward. Prelate Ewardian cocked his head, before remembering how the usual human custom of handshaking was supposed to proceed. He grasped the ambassador's hand with his forelimb, moving it up and down. Evans was pleased. He got down to business.
As you know, First Prelate, a strong interstellar civilization requires a strong economy. A strong economy allows a civilization to expand and grow. I hope that our 2 species can hold these meetings more often, and grow our economies and civilizations together.
You wish to acquire an interstellar communicator to facilitate these interactions in the future?
Prelate Ewardian inquired.
The Onathin Parliament isn't keen on granting technologies to species that we've just met.
Thank you, but a communicator is unnecessary. Your generous gift has sparked a new age of wonder for humanity. By studying the interstellar engine you kindly provided, we've unlocked many secrets, and have applied what we've learned to develop new devices. We have already developed an interstellar communication anchor. With your permission, my team and I would like to deploy one in the Onathins system.
Impressive.
Prelate Ewardian replied.
I, of course, welcome any opportunities for dialogue between our species. You have my permission. Is that all? Surely you did not hasten to improve your own interstellar engine to make this trek only to offer greetings and promise future communications?
First Prelate, your mind is as sharp as your talons.
Ambassador Evans said, reciting from a mental list of common compliments that Onathins used for each other.
I would also like to introduce you to the Pathfinder project.